and logistics of it all.
Good
So,
morning, George.
Good morning.
how are you, George?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I see the
Well,
sun shining. I think it's going to be a pretty
Beautiful
day.
out. Yes.
yeah, beautiful day.
Yeah.
Put that back, coming back.
Let me do a little cleanup here while we're getting set up. Got to kick some people off.
We're gonna kick off.
AI off.
Oh,
George,
okay, got it.
George's note taker's a spy.
What?
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey,
Oh,
George's note taker. He's always spying on me.
I know it. I don't know how he gets on there. No, well, we'll leave him on there.
Yeah, well, we decided we're
We'll
gonna,
see.
who's George?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
you?
Terry. They just call me Terry.
Hmm.
All right. Dennis, you've had a big week.
We had a
You've
busy
all had
week.
a big week.
Let's talk about it. I wasn't expecting to be back in Columbia. Um, but I was there.
I went last night to a little restaurant in Columbia that I hadn't been to in several years, and it was nice. It was across the river and not through the woods and over the path we go, but it was across the river, and it's called Terra. So if you're in Columbia and would like to enjoy a good restaurant, it's nice. Terra.
Yeah,
And it's right there at the Gervais Street Bridge, and the City of Columbia has started to launch their Riverfront Park project, which is a riverfront addition to a walk to complete uh, our side of the river, so to speak. And this
right,
park is the unfinished part between Gervais Street Bridge and Blossom Street Bridge. Um, Gervais Street Bridge is where Adventure and the State Museum is, and
right.
it's Gervais. And then the Blossom Street is where the uh, South Carolina baseball team's stadium is. So there's a large swath of land there. That's probably 4 to 5, 6 blocks, maybe something like that.
Hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
a nice little, um, and that relates to Terra is kind of across the river at that site where they're going to be doing some renovation over the next several years. So
Cool.
should be nice for
That's
Columbia.
on the Columbia side, not the Casey side,
It's
right?
on the Columbia side, and if
Yeah,
Mike gets on here, but Mike's side, the West Columbia side, Riverwalk is really nice, and
yeah,
it's really pleasant because you do actually get to see the river up pretty up close, and on one side, and then on the other side, these $1 million homes that have just been built over the last 10 years. And they are, I mean, you're right there in front of them.
yeah. That's on
And
the Casey
it,
side, right?
yeah, that's on the Casey side, the Casey West Columbia side. It's really nice. So,
Hmm.
all right, well, that's enough BS. Just to fill in a little bit. Let's see. Aaron said he was going to be a little bit late this morning. JR is going to join us. He's going to be sort of add to the show, and then we'll stay on the Clarity Act, kind of, as much as we can. But JR certainly is open to any kind of conversation about what's going on in the House up in DC,
Will he
House
talk
of,
about the files?
House of Representatives, huh?
Will he talk about the Epstein files? Has he seen them?
Probably
Hmm.
not specifically. I don't know if he's seen them, but I'm not sure I'd want to see them. Anyway, we'll
They're
see.
available.
Yeah, I hear that
Well,
they're
Mason
all
said
online.
the unredacted version, and there's lots of people in it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, okay.
I'm sorry.
No
I got
South Carolinians yet.
Oh, yeah, there are. There's reference to South Carolina and eyeglasses and prescriptions and a lot of big money passing through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll let Aaron join when and JR's not on I don't think he's on right now. Um, so we'll just kind of keep going, just kind of open it up. And what do I need to say about the market except it's just a mirror image of last week? And we know that we had a big tank, I believe it was on, middle of the week and last week, and we had another one yesterday. $3.8 trillion worth of value was lost, which is pretty dramatic. Silver, Bitcoin, Nasdaq, Dow, S&P were all down yesterday. I don't know what they're doing this morning. If anybody wants to look and see what the market's doing, that would be interesting. A couple of things. I just log on to Paul Barron's network. He kind of gives some updates on the market, and I thought I'd just tell you what he said, which is kind of interesting. But um, let me. The first one was there's this tariff standoff, and it has to do with Canada. And of course, Trump has talked about putting some trade tariffs on Canada if they do some trading with Russia. Is it Russia or China? One of those two.
China. It's China.
Yes, China. Okay, and so the House passed a bill, mostly Democratic initiative, and enough Republicans to pass it through the House to deny Trump's ability to impose tariffs on Canada. Well, he's pissed, and he put out a word. If anybody votes against, if this thing passes, you're on the and you voted for it, you're sort of in the bullseye, so to speak. So anyway, that was it's in the Senate. It'll go to the Senate. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, there'll be a compromise. It has to go back to a conference, and we'll see. But I'll let JR speak to that some. Then, but I thought that was interesting that the Democrats and us were able to gather enough Republican votes to get that passed through the House. So interesting dynamics there, I think. Dennis, you might want to weigh in on this one. Bitcoin has taken a big hit, but El Salvador may play into this a little bit. They are negotiating with the IMF for that let's see, $1.4 billion loan that they've got, and they um, are they are questioning, the IMF's questioning the $300 million worth of Bitcoin that Bukele, the president of El Salvador, continues to purchase more Bitcoin, especially while it's down. And the IMF has got some issues with that in terms of the negotiations to continue loaning that country the money. So I know you hadn't been down to El Salvador in a while, Dennis, but um, I guess
No, but
what happens though if Bukele starts to sell off his Bitcoin to satisfy the IMF? I mean, do you think there's
well,
enough there to really impact the market? I don't know.
I mean, I'd be surprised if he did that. Quite frankly, he knows to buy the dip, and he's doing exactly that. And they're still negotiating.
Hmm.
Probably by the time as they continue the negotiations, if we get the V-shaped recovery out of Bitcoin, that we're expecting later in the year, I mean, it's just a moot conversation. They hate Bitcoin. You know, and Bukele loves Bitcoin. I mean, he understands the transformative nature of it.
Okay.
I mean, so this is just. I mean, I would say, without really doing much analysis on it at this point, this is just posturing on the IMF side.
Right. So we'll see. Sounds like if you were to make a judgment on it in terms of selling the Bitcoin, you'd say he'd be holding the Bitcoin and
Absolutely. I
still
mean,
taking the money from the IMF. So we'll see how
yeah,
all that shakes out.
it's
The
that
Yeah,
classic case. It's that classic case: buy low, sell high, right? I mean, And if you're not going to sell, you're just holding it anyway. I mean, for long-term purposes. So, I think
Yeah.
he's certainly proven everybody wrong so far.
Well, you keep in mind that he's been down this path. So last year, when he got the new $1 billion loan from
Mhm.
the IMF, they told him to stop buying Bitcoin. He
Right,
immediately started buying Bitcoin.
right.
That's
Yeah, and
right.
he
So,
knows MicroStrategy's buying more Bitcoin too, because they don't liquidate unless it gets down to about 8,000.
Yeah. And to that same point, she didn't buy Bitcoin, but Kathy Wood with ARK bought $18 million worth of crypto stocks. I think Bitmine was one, and then another one. But anyway, $18 million. So she's in it. Anyway, it's just kind of side note, I guess, of interest. And then the Russian thing is extremely interesting to me. Anybody following this? I just started to see about it, but there's a talk about the Russia moving back to settling trades with the US dollar. Has anybody seen anything about that?
Haven't seen that.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty significant. So they,
I wrote about that uh, yesterday. I started seeing articles about that, and
yeah,
if that happens, then the whole BRICS narrative is,
yeah,
underwater.
it would
So
certainly,
definitely something that's worth keeping an eye on. And they're trying to renegotiate those nuclear terms. I guess
yeah,
something
that's right.
expired. I guess now that we can actually point nukes at each other or something like that, they're like, all right, maybe we should, be friends.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
the last nuclear treaty for reduction with the Russians expired, and we have not renegotiated it.
Yeah. So just,
right, that's right.
small interesting things worth watching.
Um, God, yeah, so they've talked about having an agreement to work together with fossil fuels. That's Russia and the United States. They are looking at doing a joint natural gas innovation. They're talking about doing some offshore oil and new raw material partnership, and then Russia returning to the US dollar as a settlement vehicle. And so that, to Jordan's point, BRICS has in its acronym the second letter is R, which is Russia. Um, so it might be BICS before too long with no R in it. But anyway, we'll see. Okay, so is I think I'm just looking here to see if Aaron's with us yet. I don't see him yet, but JR's with us. And we do this recorded, and we'd like to remind everybody this is not a financial advice. If anybody's got anything, let's see. Um, we might talk a little bit about the predictive market. If there's going to be a shutdown today, is it today or tomorrow? Whenever. Maybe JR will talk about that. But anyway, just wanted to say, hey, we record this. I'd like to keep this till, about 10, 15 minutes after 10. So let's bring on JR. We're gonna introduce him. He's a valued guest who comes on to share what's going on in Washington, D.C. with our congressman from the upstate, Congressman William Timmons. And so I'm going to ask him to sort of take the lead here a little bit and go ahead and let's say talk about what's going on, one, with that tariff vote, two, with the Clarity Act, and three, what's the landscape look for Timmons for this upcoming election? So the three
Sure.
topics you can go around a little bit on, JR. Does that
Perfect.
sound
I
good?
like it. Yep, that sounds like a plan. I'll
Okay.
start with kind of appropriations and what's going on with the tariffs, how it's kind of caught in there. So, going back a couple months, the House passed a lot of the appropriations package in a mini bus, which was great. But one of the small packages included DHS funding, which got kind of caught up because Democrats in the Senate did not want to make a deal on specifically ICE funding, but of course, caught up in that in all that is TSA and Coast Guard and all the other things that go into the DHS package. So last week they stripped out the other appropriations minus DHS, passed it. So we're going into a partial shutdown today, which really only is the Department of Homeland Security. And from what I understand, that's being more negotiated in the Senate, but there is not anywhere close to a deal being made on that, because Democrats have demands, specifically things from, no ICE officers wearing masks to wearing badges and all these safety things that Republicans in the White House are adamantly opposed to. So that's what's going on that. Kind of looped into that is the tariff stuff. So for the past 8 months, there's been a House rule that members of Congress could not bring up resolutions to the floor to say that the tariffs were bad on specific topics. So when you do one of these discharge positions, you only need a simple majority of House members to do it. So usually it'll be the 214 Democrats plus, you know, 3 to 5 Republicans, and it
Yeah.
automatically comes to the floor. But the way the rules were written, couldn't come to the floor if it was regarding tariffs. Well, they tried to pass a new rule that said, we're going to extend that and you can't bring tariff resolutions to the floor. That failed. So the first one of many that you'll continue to see are more messaging. It's not going to change anything at all because it won't ever pass in the Senate. But the first one that passed this week was disapproving of the tariffs on Canada. And you'll see more. You'll see one for Mexico in the coming weeks. You'll see one for European nations in the coming weeks, specifically Germany and France and Colombia, Brazil as well. So it'll just kind of continue, but it's more messaging for Democrats. So that'll be interesting to follow. Then on the
Yeah.
crypto front, the Senate's working hard on clarity in a market structure bill, and the two big holdups right now. The best way to describe it is yield, stablecoin yield, and that is truly a fight between banks and crypto companies, and there's Dems and Republicans on either side of that issue. So it's not a party line issue. For example, Angela also Brooks and Katie Britt are on the same side of, making sure it's right from a bank's perspective, whereas Bernie Moreno and Cortez Mastro, a Dem, are on the side of like helping the cryptos come to a deal. So it's not a Dem versus Republican. And then the other thing that's a hold up on that package is the ethics stuff, which is truly a Dem versus Republican. And it's, Dems have issues with what the president's family is doing in crypto. And so they want to get the language right so that there's no inside baseball stuff in this legislation. So that's a hold up for now. And
Yeah.
from what I understand, it's a long slog, but I think they're making a lot of progress. And in the House, we hope to vote on something on it, maybe in March or early April, is what we're looking at right now. And then on our front in the House, the big thing we've been working on is a housing package that includes some community bank bills. So the congressman has 2 bills in that package that passed Monday night. So it's pretty exciting to get that done. And um, doing all the good things we can on the house as we wait for some of the crypto stuff to come back to us. So
Yeah.
it's a very busy time up here, but exciting stuff for sure.
Yeah. Is there any, do you get any breaks here where you can come back? You're in DC now, right?
Yes, sir. I'm in DC now. I'm actually going back to South Carolina on Monday, so I'll be home for
Oh,
for a whole
visit.
week. So I'll be in Spartanburg for a handful of days, and I'm headed down to Columbia for a day or two as well. So it'll be nice to be home
Really?
for a full week.
Well, would you give us a heads up on your visit to Columbia? Maybe we can have lunch or something
Yeah, absolutely.
because we've
I'm
never
trying to
met.
work on the schedule now and
Yeah.
see what's going on at the state house that I need to go to. But I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, that'd be great. So the ethics thing, that's a Schiff warrant in the Senate. The ethics portion of the Clarity Act is a big push by Warren and Schiff. Of course, they are Trump haters, so you can just see the writing on the wall there. I don't know how far they're going to go. I think Trump has said he won't take any restriction that they're talking about as
Yeah.
far as trading. Because it, you help me explain this, but Congress trades all the time in their portfolios. And
More or
they and
less.
it's
I mean, I would argue that it's certain members and a lot of the. I've explained this to a couple people who are freaked out about insider trading, and
yeah,
one, there's a huge push to ban congressional stock trading, and I think most members of Congress are on board with it. I think it's gotten a little bit blown out of proportion. Sure, there's bad actors and there's people who are selling when they hear something, but
yeah,
when you look at the Nancy Pelosi stock trader account on Twitter, they're not posting real trades. So if you ever look at a disclosure form, it'll say, XYZ members sold between 5,000
yes,
and 50,000 of
right,
XYZ company.
yeah,
And the council just auto-populate it to the high end. So like if you see there's a lot that are, between 100 and 500,000, they'll just say, oh, they sold 500,000 of the stock. That's never really true. And there could be bad motives behind it, but usually it's not as extreme as some of it make it out to be. But at the same time, I think a lot of members are on board of banning stock trading, and it's something that the House is very focused on right now.
yeah. So the Katie Brett, you mentioned her. She's been highlighted a couple of times, uh, mainly as some J.P. Morgan trading and some messaging that came out. And it turns out a couple of days before that messaging came out, she dumped some JP Morgan stocks. That kind of stuff, goes on. And here these, anyway, I guess I'd be pontificating if I brought um, Schiff and Warren
No,
into
I
this
hear you.
discussion.
I
But
think
anyway,
so.
you hear me.
I think the biggest issue with the ethics on a market structure bill is, I would say that, Chairman Hill and Chairman Scott would agree that some of the stuff that the president's family and inner circle are doing in the crypto world make it difficult at times for this. But the issue is that the Warrens of the world are just taking it to the full extreme and just trying to get extreme concessions out of it.
Mhm.
And it's an inappropriate way to negotiate, in my mind. I think there is a middle ground. I think there's a middle ground that Republicans would agree with, and that maybe the president wouldn't love, but it's not the end of the world, and it's something that gets this bill done now.
Yeah.
But I think the progressives of the world are blowing it out of the water and taking it to the furthest extreme and saying this is the only thing that matters, when I don't think that's true. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Um, well, I mean, I just get the feeling that the Clarity Act's never going to pass, but that's just me, and that's maybe because I'm looking at too many headlines. I don't know. But you sound a little more positive. That's great. So
Yeah, I'm still
we need
positive
some,
because the the
we
the
need
push
it,
from the
man.
the push from the White House is so strong. And if you kind of look through the dotted lines and you see, the 10% rate cap discussion and the Credit Card Competition Act discussion and the Fed independence stuff. These are all things that just keep getting thrown around to kind of, you know, get the banks to come to a deal and say, these are things that you care about and we don't want to do it. So like relax on this yield discussion. Let's get to a deal. Let's get this bill done, and signed
Yeah.
into law.
Okay. Well, I know Bassett went off on CEO of Coinbase, railing out on him. But anyway, that's another. But I did see that Paul would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just more of a comment or observation, but I think one thing that could actually help get the Clarity Act passed and get some sort of consensus is, interestingly enough, the Epstein files. Some people that might be on the fence or, might not want to vote for it. I see that as being potential leverage. I mean, I think we've learned through a lot of this stuff that DC works a lot on blackmail. And That's the honest truth. That it is what it is. Let's some of these people are doing the bidding of the people that put them in those positions, and so now it's time to perhaps flip the script. And okay, you don't wanna vote for it, then we're gonna go ahead and release all this stuff. Let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
That's far above my pay grade, but hey, you know,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just I had something on Epstein, but I can't remember because I wanted to ask you this question on the why haven't we heard anything about out of the Supreme Court? Is there any talk about the Supreme Court finally releasing their decision on the Trump tariffs that have been
great
imposed?
question. I have no idea. I don't think anyone up here knows, and I think
I'm like,
people have
they've had
I have
that
no idea.
decision. Yeah.
No idea.
It's
I don't know what's
very
happening.
curious.
That's out of my wheelhouse. I think most people are kind of under the assumption that the IEEPA tariffs at least will get overturned.
Yeah.
Um, and then the administration will just use, a different lever of tariffs and continue. But I don't know. I think from what I understand, they're the most, I don't say worried, but they're in the details of looking at
Yes.
how retroactively that decision would make it.
Yes.
And, a lot of that money has already been, you
Hmm.
know, appropriated elsewhere, moved around. And I think the Supreme Court is very diligently looking at their decisions already been made. I think they're going
I
to
think
say,
so.
this is
Yeah.
bad, but are they going to say this is bad starting now? This is bad starting, November 30th? Is this
Mhm.
bad starting October 10th? Like,
Yeah.
it's a very difficult game to play and figuring out when it goes back to.
Yeah. All right. We've kind of covered our topics, but let's put JR on the spot. All right. Give us the lowdown on why the FAA and the government shut down the El Paso airport airspace for 10 days.
I know nothing about that. I've read a headline. Um,
Alien, alien,
hey, listen,
aliens.
I'm narrowly focused and I'm sticking to that.
All right. So we'll take anybody's suggestion or anybody's theory that wants to throw it out there.
Aliens. It's aliens.
Okay.
The government has to
Probably
prepare us for the aliens.
it's probably just a mistake because a lot of people are making a lot of mistakes lately. So a
I've
lot
heard
of
that
systems are
argument.
breaking down,
I've
George.
heard that
A
argument that it
lot
was
of
a
things are breaking
miscommunication.
down.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
the official word is that cartel drone incursions, something like that.
yeah.
I mean, listen, the drones powered by AI, that's some scary stuff right there. But who knows? Who knows what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. And so I've heard the cartel thing. I've heard the miscommunication one. Uh, Mike Green's brought up the aliens, and the other one was a drone defensive weapon that either mistakenly went off or they were going to do some testing with it. And why in the world they would ever do any testing in El Paso, Texas is beyond me. Because anyway, when you're doing, I know that drone incursions occur from the Mexican border all the time. There's like 80,000 a year. I mean, it's an amazing number how they're using those drones. And my understanding is they're getting the cartels in Mexico have sent people over to Ukraine to learn how to operate these and get the functionality
I believe it.
perfected.
The the
Oh,
the
that's
the, dr
rich.
the
Yeah.
drone warfare in Ukraine is going to change modern warfare forever, and it's taught all different swaths of people how to operate these drones. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And I
Well,
think
and then the
yeah,
cartels are using drones that are not like you and I think about realtors using drones. Some of these
that's right.
things are pretty good sized, and so they're up to the size of like agricultural drones. And so they have significant capability and payloads.
Yes, and they do have payload capability that we think of, and what they show, that's what they show normally is a small little personal or a little, maybe manufacturing company has something to look at their property, those kind of drones. But these things are pretty, pretty dang sophisticated, and they got the money evidently to be able to buy them. So,
To what extent are the drones vulnerable to satellite communications and disruption in the communications, and perhaps bad or good actors making decisions upon the extent to which the communications could be shut down? Or
It depends on the drone. So there's this whole battle in drones about how to control them, and somebody came up with use thin fiber lines to the drones. That also doesn't work, by the way. So the
I never
AI drones
understood
is the
that,
problem
Mark.
because they're not subject to that at all, right? At least in theory. So, but they're doing all kinds of things with drones now. Like some of them, because you can just program them without AI, and they'll just do the thing. They don't need to communicate back. It's just battery power and whether or not you take them out with a laser, which you actually can do with relatively cheap equipment. Because there's a YouTube channel
Well,
that did that, which is pretty hysterical.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these drones are using like those fiber optic lines, and so they're not totally worked off the same communication systems.
No, they have fiber optic drones. Those fail quickly though. They use those in Ukraine. They all got because it takes 10 seconds to cut a fiber line that thin. And oh, by the way, now you have fiber lines everywhere when the drone because you can take down the
using them in
drone
Mexico
other
too.
ways.
It allows the uh, defensive mechanisms that they have in place. Fiber optic gets around the defensive mechanisms that the other side has to knock those drones
No,
down.
it
That's what the
it
fiber
secures the
optic does.
communication,
Yeah.
George, but for a very short amount of time until they just cut the stupid fiber. It was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Ukraine did it. It just didn't work because of course you can't keep a fiber line attached to a drone and still have it, useful.
I can't.
It's not like firing a
Yeah, it's
torpedo
very.
with a wire guide behind it. You
Yeah.
have to cut
Yeah,
the drone
exactly.
loose.
It's the same, and it doesn't work. And we know why and how it doesn't work. I mean, torpedoes are better because there's less stuff underwater that, it's harder to get to do the thing that you can do easily in air underwater, but it's still subject to all kinds of problems. And they scramble the radio frequencies, they do pre-programmed drones, they do all kinds of things, but at the end of the day, you only need to take out one or two propellers and then the thing is over. So
Yeah. So I thought that was just kind of interesting in terms of that El Paso fiasco, I guess. But I kind of attribute it to the story. I mean, it's going to go away. The question is still there. It's going to go away. It'll drop off the headline because maybe the Epstein files will take over. But I I think it's those big questions like that get dropped off the face of the news, and you never get an answer to them. And one is that Nord Stream pipeline cut about 2 or 3 years ago.
George, I got to roll.
Undersea, huh? Oh yeah,
I
JR,
got
thanks,
to
buddy.
roll, but y'all
thanks,
enjoy.
JR.
Good to see
Yeah,
y'all.
thank
Hey,
you.
JR, if you're in Columbia next week, the next data center hearing, Data Center Development Act hearing is 9 o'clock Tuesday morning. I'm sure you
I'm
have
good
no
on that,
desire
but
to be
y'all have a
there.
blast.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, real quickly, Timmons has got some competition for his seat, right? Or is it just on the Democratic side?
Yes, sir. No, we have a primary.
He's being primaried. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, he's gonna have to be campaigning.
Working hard. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Let's when he comes to upstate and does a campaign thing, let us know, and we might
Absolutely.
zip up there and say hey, because we haven't never met him either. But yeah,
Lovely. Well, thanks,
we'll
guys.
we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
See ya.
George, why don't you follow up with that for our speaker dinner Tuesday, March the 4th, if the congressman is in the state. We are Well, I was
Is
in
it the
Columbia.
third or the fourth?
It's
Well,
March 3rd.
excuse me, the
Third.
third. Yes, the third.
Third. Okay.
So
All right.
the
Well,
fourth, actually, just to update everybody, if you want to hit it as a topic real quickly.
I missed that, Dennis. Sorry,
No,
but
I just said if you want a quick update on that, I guess.
yeah, I thought. Well, I mean, we're into the call about 35 minutes, so we could probably take another 10 minutes and roll through some stuff you're doing, and then any other upcoming things that we have going on. So, and we don't have Aaron's not going to join us, so we can't get any price predictions about what Bitcoin's going to do. But maybe while Jordan's thinking about it and listening to you talk, Dennis, he'll come up with a prediction of what Bitcoin's going to be.
Yeah, well, real quickly, the next hearing for the Senate Agricultural Subcommittee for the Data Center Development Act, Tuesday at 9 a.m. I'm preparing testimony specifically to address, their call is really for city and municipal and county economic development, to comment on the bill, possible impact of that bill on those areas. And
Is that the
I'm working.
Is that the Davis bill?
That's the Davis bill. That's
eight,
correct. Yeah,
86?
that's the Davis bill.
Okay.
687.
867. Right.
Okay.
867.
And then, there's been talk about 902, the one that Luke Rankin has filed about a committee hearing next week, but I haven't been able to get any information on that. I'm going to call the office today and see what the status is of that. But there'll be probably at least two more hearings in the ag bill, and I mean they're moving pretty aggressively with it. We'll see how it works. But
Yeah.
so, but as part of all that, while I was up there Wednesday, I was able to, get a commitment from Bill Herb Kurtzman, the chairman of the Labor, Commerce, and Industry Committee in the House, to participate in the event. He'll be in a panel with Bernie Maybank, and we'll be discussing how South Carolina pivots from a manufacturing economy to really to a knowledge-based economy.
And this will
So that's
is this a separate deal or is this part of the
no. This is the March 2nd event. Just
second
giving a
event?
preview.
Okay.
I mean, obviously the agenda's together. Now we're tweaking it, and I've got
Good.
invitations out to Tom Davis also. Senator Davis is very interested in attending. They're trying to get that scheduled next week. We also spoke about the replacement for the AI, resolution 225, expanding that now into a more current language and taking into consideration everything that's happened over the last year as well. So, and he actually agreed to, keeping this resolution updated. I mean, as long as we're not having a specific organizational here, obviously, a commission or a group that's actually studying this, we now have a vehicle, to basically put together a plan for the state annually with the anniversary of Resolution 225. So, kind of a small win, but at least we've got a guidebook, that we can put into the record. So,
And this is let me just mention this. I'm sorry, Dennis, to interrupt, but
yeah.
it's not on the crypto topic, but it is kind of stuff that SKIDA is focused on and getting moved through the House and the Senate, and it's all tied together. But
well, it's crypto related, as with AI really is the lead, because obviously these are open source projects, so hybrid projects. It's all about the convergence of AI and blockchain. And obviously, we're seeing it in real time on Twitter with the bots that are already created their own currency. I mean, I mean it's I mean, this is happening in real time. I mean, in literally days. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. If you follow, I mean, I suggest everybody follow it, because I mean it's eclipsing everything else in my mind. And then, but as part of that, we've invited Herb Kurtzman, some of the key committee chairs that are involved with our legislation, S-163 specifically, and just backpedal on that just a minute. We did get the commitment that that bill will be calendared. The goal is to have it calendared for March the 4th, which would be the Wednesday after the event. So I'm asking people to come out, come to the hearing. We'll have our T-shirt, our swag that'll be very prominent and noticeable, to support all this from a general public standpoint. We really want to make an impact on this and get 163 done. And so with all that, I mean, the conference is coming together very well. I want to announce that Jennifer will be my co-host there, and we're really looking forward to something very special. Treasurer's involved, Scott Stanetta. Oh, this is the advanced news here. We're getting ready to issue a second press release for this event. This will be the first press release, in history that has ever been, attested to under Shoremark credentials, which are Scott Stanetta's new project, that assures that this is a verifiable credential, and that all the communications we'll be issuing from here on out will be done under Shoremark, so that it provides.
You hear that, Mark?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Okay, it really is. I mean, this is the future of credentialing. This is the future of everything, because I mean, when you can create fakes in a matter of seconds, how do you know what's real? So this is the latest project that Dr. Stanetta and Dr. Haber have put out there. It's a major platform that let's watch and see what happens. Obviously, anybody who needs any more information on it, we got it all coming.
Yeah, so that is a great update. There's a lot of stuff in there. Dennis, I know you got your fingers in a bunch of pies, and I appreciate your input there. I did want to mention one other bill that I've not read, but I've heard and seen it. It's the gold and silver as legal tender bill for the state of South Carolina, which Daniel Diaz would be loving, but he would be very interested in that. We'll see how that goes. I just don't know much about it. I know it's been introduced. I don't know who did it. Maybe, and Patty's not here to today. She's not here. I think she'll be with us next week. She can maybe give us a little insight on it. But so keep your antennas up on that one. And then Dennis's invitation and the link to register for this event, the 2nd of March. Across the river at Stone River, the event center at Stone River, which is right there on the Gervais Street Bridge, is included in the second page of the email that goes out for you with the topics of what goes on in this call. And so, gosh, if you got a second, that's going to be a great event. It's really coming together. Dennis put a lot of time, energy, and effort in it, and Jennifer Cunningham's going to be, with her co-host hat on. So that'll be awesome. So,
hey, I just looked at this gold and silver bill real quickly. This is interesting because the unique aspect of this is that you got Ronnie Chrome. That's house.
Cromer.
Yeah, Cromer. No, that's the house. No, I'm not. I thought for some reason. Cromer Senate Banking Committee. Yeah, my mistake.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's and Cromer's the head of the Senate Banking, right? I'm sure he is. Ronnie is from Richland. He represents part of northeastern Richland County, and I think that's sort of his area. He is and comes to many of the Republican. He's a Republican. He comes to many of the Republican GOP meetings. So always, not always, but occasionally we get an opportunity to speak directly to him, and he's the Senate Banking Chair in the legislature. So anyway, all right. Let's wrap it up, and thank you so much. And gosh, it was great having JR with us, and I hope we can, maybe put something together and invite y'all. So, anybody else got anything? Let's get out of here.
Thought you wanted a Bitcoin price.
Bye. Hey, dollar cost average.
I bought a little yesterday.
There you go.
I think it's going to go up a little, but I think it's going to go down still. But we'll see.
There you go. DCA, baby. Thank y'all.
Do you think enough to short it, Jordan? That's the question.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, y'all have a good day.
All
All
right.
right, thank